Hey everybody, I'm not going to ask how it's going because it's going horribly for all of us. Welcome to Inside Our Phillies. The Phillies are coming off of a 4-3 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers in game 2 of the NLDS. And here to talk about it, we have Phil's Forever. How's it going, man?
As good as it can.
Yeah, as good as it can. It says a lot. How about you, Metsuck? How are you doing?
I'm on vacation in 3 days, and at that point, I won't have to watch this crappy team anymore. So I got that going for me.
Yep, this team will, I don't think it would surprise anybody if their season was over in a couple of days. But let's kind of jump right in with what I think is going to be the main discussion point after this game, which was Rob Thompson's management of the ninth inning. I'll go to you first, Phil's Forever. What did you think about the decision to make Bryson Stott bunt?
I do think it's the right call. My biggest question is, you've got your slowest runner on second. Why is nobody coming in to pinch for Castellanos right there? I'm not sure that anybody would get over there because the Dodgers played it perfectly.
Mm.
But I don't know. I mean, the going thing now in modern baseball is you don't do that. That's an old school thing. Bunting in that situation. For me, it's the right call because I'm an old man. You know what I mean? That's my first thing is my first thought is you bunt the guy over and go from there. But yeah, I don't. It just played out so badly for the Phillies, unfortunately, that it was a no-win situation with the way that the bunt played out.
What about you, Metsuck? What did you think about the decision to bunt?
When on Thursday after we lose Wednesday, when Rob Thompson's fired, that will be the first thing I think of just how dumb that call was. No offense, Phil Forever.
No, that's okay.
Stupid. Okay, a couple of things I want to touch on. One, couldn't have pinch run for Castellanos because the only guy I had left was Wilson. And if you do that, you take Bader's bat out of the game because you only get one at bat from Bader. And even that, he had to jog the first. So I get it. Two, you're right. Nobody's beating that. It wouldn't have mattered. That was a perfect throw. If Trey makes that throw in the seventh, that who was it? The third baseman, I don't remember who it was, made. Right there, this is an entirely different game. I mean, she and I, little crap we'll get to.
It's a throw he should make, though, to be fair. I mean, he had time. If he made it, then he threw it to, JT's left, then he would have been out by like a step and a half.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I mean, we'll get into that one. Three, you've got a guy that can pull the ball. You've got a pitcher that's unraveling. He's just given up a guy on second. Nobody out. Let your guy hit, man. Let your guy hit. I mean, if we're down one in the bottom of the 10th with the ghost runner, are we bunting the guy over to try to tie the game? Play for the win. We're trying to play for the win. You don't play for the tie there. A tie would have just you play for the win. You've got a good bat and Stott against the yeah. Sorry, yeah. When we get to be free of Rob Thompson, that'll be the first thing I think of.
Fair. I have three things that I'm thinking about that bunt. I think it's like a trifecta of errors that caused that play to result in Castellanos getting thrown out at third base. Number one, I would have pinch ran for Castellanos. I understand what you're saying, Metsuck, about how that is going to hinder Bader. But to some extent, I don't know how much I care about Bader's run because he represented the winning run, not the tying run. And I think in extra innings, the Phillies probably would have been favored because at that point, Sasaki would have pitched, Sheehan would have pitched. So the Phillies still had a couple of their better bullpen arms left in the game. You could have gone to Ranger Suarez even. I think the Phillies would have had the advantage in extra innings. And therefore, I think the right call was to pinch run. And, maybe you get a home run and maybe you win a game. But, your likelihood of just tying the game goes up. Number two, I think it was a mistake to bunt in the first place. What it tells me is that The Philadelphia Phillies do not believe that Bryson Stott's improvements over the last 2 months are real. Because I think if they thought Bryson Stott's improvements over the last 2 months were real, they would not have bunted him there. Number 3, terrible base running by Nick Castellanos. That was a bunt that was never going to get the run over to third base, especially with it being hit, to third base. And Castellanos should have held at second and stayed put and keep that run in scoring position. If any of those 3 things are different, then we're not getting the outcome of Nick Castellanos getting thrown out at third base, and this game could look completely different.
Let me ask you guys a question. Did he block that base during that play?
Like obstruction, you mean?
Obstruction, yeah, directly in front of the base, and at the last second pulled it away. I know it's a nothing thing, but that was one of the first things that I noticed was that he had his entire foot blocking the base. Not that it matters, but my mind went there after the play.
I don't know. I don't fully understand the blocking the base rules. You said you're an old man. I'm an old man. Because to me, I know it's a new thing. I was taught you put your entire leg in front of that base, and you take the spikes in the shins, and you take the spikes in the knees, and you deal with it, and you get the out. So, I don't know what's blocking and what's not blocking. Frankly, I see anytime there's a play at the plate, I'm always wondering if it's going to get overturned one way or the other. Yeah, I will plead full ignorance on that rule because I just don't understand it. I understand the purpose of it. I just don't understand how it's applied.
And that's why I asked the question. Right. And I was taking notes during the game. I was taking notes. And my notes say, Casty's out at third, damn it. Why did he run? Didn't that guy block the base? What the hell's going on? So I don't know. I have no idea about that rule either. Nobody even addressed it on the broadcast. And I guess, there was no challenge or anything like that. So I guess that is a nothing call at that point.
To me, it's like the balk rule where it feels like it just kind of is what it is. And like nobody ever really questions it because I don't think anybody fully understands the blocking rule. Just like nobody fully understands the balk rule. It just feels like it's so nebulous and so subjective.
I think that's a perfect example because when you see a balk, you can always be convinced it's a balk almost all the time. And same thing with the blocking. You can always find something that convinces you it's a block. That's a great jail.
Yeah. And I imagine that if it was more of a bang bang play, then maybe that would come into be a factor. But because Castellanos was nowhere near the bag when he got the ball, I guess it's a non-factor, so it's not even an issue.
He was out by almost 10 feet. It was pretty
exactly
crazy.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so nobody would even think that it was blocking because he was in a different time zone.
Did you guys think, this is a question that we got in from the guest yesterday, should have had Giles. Did you think that they were going to tie it when Casty got to second?
My buddy Kevin's texting me the entire time. He's like, not bought in. And I'm like, the double, I bought in. Casty swinging at something and pulling it down the line that's a mile out of zone and getting it, the slide where he just happens to miss the tag somehow. Yeah, I was pretty sure at that point we were at least tying him.
I thought they were winning it. Yeah. Frustrating. I mean, the Phillies seemed like they wanted to optimize for the pain that they would inflict upon their fans. I think a lot of people had kind of reached the acceptance stage of grief by the time that we got to that 9th inning, only to kind of have their hope completely built up but torn down in just a matter of minutes.
Hang on, that leads me to a tweet I just saw. Watch them win 2 in a row just to kill us in Game 5.
I saw that as well. I don't know who did that, but I saw that as well.
Explaining thank you for that. That is perfect. Yeah, and it was perfectly timed with your comment there, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know if we want this to be, a massive place of positivity, but the Phillies did just lose 2 games at home. Who says the Dodgers can't also lose 2 games at home? I don't think it's likely in the slightest, but it's possible. right? Like the series feels over right now, but it is not actually over. Breaking news: Aaron Nola is starting Game 3.
So I had a feeling that was going to happen. I think I said it the other day. It could happen on here, and I think Ranger's been in the bullpen. And I trust Ranger coming out of the bullpen far more than I would trust Nola coming out of the bullpen. Yeah, I don't know, but I also there's a certain part of me that says if we're going to turn it around, we need somebody like Aaron Nola to step up and do something. And
How can you get talking? It's a 6 ERA.
this guy pitched for 10 years. It's just I shit this year. I get it. Well, first off, all right, and you got me thinking positive, and God damn it, excuse my language. I'm thinking now. Why can't he? Why can't he?
I love Aaron Nola. He sucks now.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long do you think the rope is?
Hey, sure, give me 3. That's all I want. Give me 3.
If you're starting Nola, why didn't you use Ranger in the bullpen in any of these games?
Yeah, no, you should have absolutely used Ranger in one of these games. No doubt. There's no doubt. But that is different from starting Nola. I think you're once through the order. First off, Joe, you're thinking way too much about this. You forget that Rob Thompson's the one making this decision.
Yeah, I mean, if you let him get to the 4th and he starts to choke a little bit, then you've got options.
This is true. Maybe this is the copium right now, but maybe he's an opener to like get the Dodgers lefties into the lineup, Max Muncy, those guys. Then bam, Ranger comes in the second inning, and all of a sudden you get the platoon advantage.
The second now. He's coming in the second now.
Their player, nobody trusts people's back of baseball card more than Rob Thompson does.
Yeah.
And he's going to sit there and watch him pitch through the 6th. Try to get to the 6th. I guarantee it.
I was thinking today about Charlie Manuel and when he managed the World Series team. And then right after that was run out of town. Because he managed the team pretty much exactly like Rob Thompson is managing the team. He's calm and patient. Mm-hmm. He gives his players the longest rope. He is one of those even-keeled guys. Very rarely got thrown out of games. And he is the winningest pitcher, 780 wins. Tops among all Phillies managers. Thompson has the highest winning percentage. They're very similar managers. And Manuel was run right out of town after he won a World Series. And Thompson hasn't accomplished that. I don't see him. I don't see a future for him in the dugout for much longer. I really don't.
How much on the hot seat do you think he is? Like, do you think if the Phillies, I know we probably want him to be gone if the Phillies lose on Wednesday, but is he actually gone if the Phillies lose on Wednesday?
That is one of the first things I thought of when the game was actually lost tonight. Was his decisions, both of these games led to a loss. I believe is the consensus, correct?
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, yes.
Yeah. I think he's really on the hot seat.
I think Middleton is just like we are, and I think he usually stays out of it. I think he's going to finally come and say, "This is enough. I'm done with this guy." I don't think Middleton will get involved in many of the other decisions that Dombrowski's got to make this offseason. That's when it's over. It's time to move on. Just my gut.
That I totally agree with that.
I mean, a lot of fans are feeling the frustration now, I think, and we're going to get into this more a little bit later in the podcast. A lot of fans are feeling the frustration of this team being so similar year in, year out, and maybe Rob Thompson's like a scapegoat so that things can feel more different next year. But before we get to that, I think we need to talk a little bit more about what I think is one of the big mistakes that Rob Thompson made in this game. Same mistake that he made yesterday.
Another one?
Well,
Another one?
Some people don't think this is a mistake, and I think there's a discussion to be had. But I think that he made the exact same mistake by forcing the starting pitcher to the top of the Dodgers lineup a third time through and bringing the relief pitcher in too late and getting punished for it.
It's a recurring theme, isn't it?
So I think he was one batter too late with Sanchez. I don't think he was tonight. Freeman, Luzardo has. I like Luzardo on Freeman there, and I didn't even have a problem with Green. I don't think he's the reason. I mean, if like I said, it was a little dribbler that just got past that. It was the Carlos Ruiz at bat or swing, right? I mean, does anybody blame the pitcher for that? He made the great pitch, and the guy just got the ball on the bat and the ball and made a play. That one doesn't bother me, and I think we get out of that inning. And sorry, I'm just I think he left him in the right amount tonight. I think Sanchez was one batter too late on Saturday night.
What about you, Phil's Forever?
I tend to agree with that. Hindsight's always 20/20, and when we talk about the subreddit, there are a lot of people in there that will jump on the bandwagon of jumping on the manager in that situation, and he left him in too long. It's a tough call. I tend to agree with Mets. I think that that tonight was okay, and last night was definitely too long. The manager.
Now you're doing it. It was not last night.
Oh yeah,
now
yeah.
You sound like one of the TBS announcers.
Saturday night.
How annoying was that all night?
Yeah, Saturday night. But I think that the management of the pitchers after that, going through the bullpen and who he brings in, because Saturday Robertson coming in for that extra inning. I don't know if you're going to touch on that or not, but I mean that was bad. Robertson never should have come in Saturday, and I don't mind what he did tonight. I think that Saturday night he did flub up that game.
Well, Robertson. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. I was at a football game while I was watching it. Robertson is the one they tried to do the wraparound inning with, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the problem. Him coming in wasn't the problem.
That's what I mean.
Was the problem.
I think it was the.
Yeah, I thought so.
Sure. I think it was the right call that he came in the one inning, but having him come back out didn't make any sense to me. Especially because, and I think I said this in the game thread, that Banks was already warming up at the same time that Robertson was, and he was available. I don't know why I didn't go to him or Kirkring again, that Saturday night, but I don't know.
What about? I mean, if we're gonna have the guy sit in the bullpen, why not Ranger Suarez?
Exactly, and a lot.
This guy's gonna go sign a track somewhere, and we're not even using him.
Yeah, I didn't really get that either. A lot of people were saying that too. If Game 5 starting pitcher option, why is he not available out of the bullpen the first few games? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, he won't have 5. Luzardo will have 5 if we get there.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
If you get to 5, you're all hands on deck at that point.
Luzardo would be 5. So
yeah, at home, which is where he's awesome.
Let's take a temperature check. What do you two think the odds are that the Phillies win this series? Just give me a number.
3%.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'm about there. I'm at 5%.
I didn't want to go with a 5 or 0 as my last number, so I
there you go.
Random number
smack in between
0 and 5.
Yeah. Let's get into a couple of the listener questions that we got. We had a couple of people that were kind of having their rantings throughout the games. Coaster Craze, why this team will never win anything in my lifetime. And he said these are questions that you don't need to answer. He just needs to vent. Then you actually have a really good question, Matt Suck. So what changes are we going to start seeing Wednesday night around this time? Do you I know we said if the Phillies lose, is Rob Thompson going to be gone? But what other changes do you expect for next year if they're losing and they do lose on a Wednesday night?
I mean, the list is long. I think that win or lose, there's a couple of changes that are just going to happen, right? Castellanos is going to be gone. I think Schwarber's going to get re-signed, win or lose. Bohm is probably going to be gone. They might even non-tender him. I think that we'll see Aiden Miller at some point next year in the start. I think we'll see J.P. Crawford.
J.P. Crawford? J.P. Crawford's coming back.
I think Bader will be gone. Unfortunately, I'd like to see him back. They'll go out and Dombrowski will sign some left-handed hitting outfielder for $10 million, and we'll all hope he has a good year. And he won't. And then Ranger's gone. JT's probably gone. If we win, I think JT comes back. If we don't, I think JT's probably gone. Yeah, it's gonna be a whole new team next year.
If I see a JT Realmuto hit a ground ball to shortstop one more time.
Oh, come on, dude. He had double. He had the only offense 2 nights ago, and he had a double tonight to score a run. I mean, give him. Come on.
I get it.
He's one of the guys that's actually shown up in this series.
Hasn't shown up. Kyle Schwarber hasn't shown up. I mean,
Kyle Schwarber is not showing. These freaks, and this is not the time for one.
Anyways, we'll let you answer now. We'll skip
sorry.
forever.
No, that's okay. You're saying all the things that I was going to say. The only thing that I may disagree with is I think they may let Schwarber go, and there's maybe a riot at the bank, but I think he may, because he's already said that he's going to elect to go to free agency, right? So if somebody throws a huge number at him and the Phillies don't want to match it because we're going to be in a rebuild, then
no, I don't, and I don't think there's any way that Middleton lets us go into "quote unquote" a rebuild.
Oh, you don't think so?
I mean, I think you can argue it's the right move for them to take a retooling year.
I don't disagree. I'm with Wheeler where he's at in his deal, with how much he's paying Nola, and obviously declining, with what he's paying Bryce, with what he's paying Trey. There's no way he's letting them take a rebuild year. Maybe a retinker year, right? Where we
and that's probably my mistake putting it that way. That's what I did mean, is a retooling year.
Yeah, I mean that's where you're hoping to win the wild card. You look at the designated hitters available. Who do you got? Mitch Garver, Rich Hoskins, Andrew McCutchen, Ryan O'Hearn, Marcell Ozuna, Jack Peterson, Kyle Schwarber, Justin Turner, and Jesse Winkler. Only guy on that list I want is Schwarber, and then you move on from that. You start looking at somebody like Alonso and move Bryce to the outfield, or move Bryce to designated hitter, or maybe you sign Reese back and hope that he can rebound. It just there's.
I mean, you do have Rincon too. You have Rincon down in the minors.
Yeah, I mean, you can go that route too, and then you're counting on really 3 players who are young to do it, and you still have to find a catcher and all this.
If Bryce was going to move to the outfield, it would have happened. It would have happened.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
I mean, I think they should do it.
I agree.
I would have loved if they were creative and they did that, and they brought in Naylor or something like that at the trade deadline. But or even in game 1 they would have had Bryce play the outfield instead of going with the Marsh, Castellanos, Kepler outfield for the last few innings of the game, just because Harper can't play the outfield. The one thing I think with Schwarber is, like, you're signing somebody coming off, I said this yesterday or 2 days ago, you're signing somebody coming off of their age 32 year who has had the best year of their career to a long-term contract. That scares me. Like, what happens when his bat speed slows down and all of a sudden the home runs more and more turn into boarding track fly balls and he provides no value? Like, I think there's so much value in a DH that's not set, especially with an older team, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, all these guys. I think there's value to having the DH kind of rotate around and maybe having a utility guy that can play, a bunch of positions like Edmundo Sosa can, who probably deserves more playing time.
Definitely deserves more playing time.
I think he's got the eye. I'll just say this. Everybody thought that the JT contract would be terrible at the last year, and it was not. He was solid this year. Beat that aging curve by a year or two. And I felt that with JT. I feel that with Schwarber. I don't feel that with Turner. Bryce is that guy either.
Next question that we got is from Baseballzilla. Has this formula ever worked? Guess talking about like the Phillies offensive formula is what I'm guessing this is talking about, like the offensive formula of kind of, I guess this year you can argue they're really playing for the home runs as much as they're playing for station to station baseball, which can be harder to sustain in the postseason. Maybe that's what he's going at. What do you think?
I mean, is that what he's talking about? Is we're not swinging the bats for the fence anymore?
I'm not sure. That's just my guess. I mean, Bryce Harper looked like he was swinging for the fence today.
That's what I was just going to say. And to a certain extent, so is Schwarber.
Yes. A couple of the swings were he was trying to break out of his slump. The formula, as I see the team, and maybe this is what he's saying, is good pitching with streaky hitters. That's kind of how I took it when I saw that question. Yeah, it's absolutely worked. It got us to a World Series a couple years ago. Other teams have done this, run this path, and won World Series. I don't think. I don't think there's no reason we can't win with this formula. It's all about timing.
All right, next question that we got. This one is also from you. That sucked. Why did Garrett Stubbs have to talk about partying in the pool in Arizona and ruin this team? Is that what you believe?
And that's when it started. And I'm a vibes guy, right? You know, baseball is a very vibes game for as much as everything else. To me, it's way more vibes than a lot of sports. I'm not saying that's why we lost, but mess with the vibes, and you don't mess with the juju and stuff like that. And it's just Toronto with Jobu growing up, but yeah, you don't mess with stuff like that in my mind. And that's I was just making a joke too. So
fair. I love Garrett Stubbs, and I have a hard time blaming him. But I mean, it was a pretty stupid comment. I mean, I think anybody would.
And the backup catcher shouldn't be talking to anybody in the first.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is the vibe in the dugout when he's in there, but that's not something that you mess with.
Yeah, so I think we covered questions because we got a question about Nola starting Game 3. We talked about that. We talked about how you shake the core up. Thompson decision to have Stott bunt. I mean, I hope that was Thompson's decision because that makes it easier to blame him. I mean, imagine if it was Stott's decision to bunt.
Well, so I'm seeing some people on Twitter, and they're making a really good argument here. So going about your shakeup, right? If you can't trust Stott right there to get a base hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. I mean, if you are counting on Aiden Miller coming up to the major leagues and you're assuming that Trey Turner is going to stick at shortstop, which he will next year, there's not room for Bohm and Stott. Like, one of them is going to have to go or sit on the bench if you're going to have Aiden Miller come up to the major leagues and start, right?
So just to make you happy, we'll have Bohm back next year.
Alec Bohm is, like, almost single-handedly responsible for, like, killing the Phillies, it feels like sometimes. Like, for on-the-field reasons, and I know people dislike Castellanos, and I dislike Castellanos too, but there has never been a Phillies player that I've hated more for on-the-field reasons than Alec Bohm.
It must have been nice not growing up with the 1990s teams.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about if Bohm disappears. Let's talk about that. Where do people go?
I think it's Miller. I think it's Miller. I think you put Miller at third because Joe's right. Trey's not moving off short. I mean, I think he keeps Stott. But again, the argument is if you can't trust Stott to get a base hit right, you've got all the momentum. Why would you trust him on your team next year just starting second baseman?
Hey, just bring up all 5'10" of Arun Escobar and be done with it.
I mean, well, just the Mundo out there. Just put him into the second and then bring up maybe get another utility guy somewhere, right?
Do you really trust Edmundo as a everyday second baseman?
I'm not the one that's saying he should go. I'm saying they obviously think he should go.
Yeah.
Well, that's like what I was saying earlier about how if you believe in Stott's improvements over the last 2 months, then why are you having him bunt there, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Unless Rob's trying to get himself fired.
I guess the biggest question is, does his defense outweigh his offense?
Yes.
Is that reason enough to keep him at second base?
Probably, right?
I think so.
This goes into my frustration with Bohm. I'm okay sacrificing a lot of offense up the middle at shortstop, second, and center, as long as you have really good hitters at the corners. And my frustration with Bohm comes from the fact that he's a 6'5" slap hitter that can't hit the ball far at third base. Like Stott has so much more leeway.
Someone in the game thread today said something to that effect. How is he such a big human being, have no power and no speed? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't, right? Doesn't make any sense at all. It's interesting how different the tenor is after this game compared to the first one. I feel like there was so much anger after game one, and I feel like after this game, it's more sad. Is that kind of how you guys feel?
I know that it took me a long time to realize that Red October means the red comes from the blood of my fandom being by this team over and over and over again. My fandom has been bleeding for the last couple of years, and it's almost dead.
Yeah, that's fair. Anything you guys have that you wanna have as final notes? I'm kind of out of stuff for this episode. Phil's forever. I'll ask you first. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up?
The only thing that I noticed when I was watching the Dodgers the last couple games is that they throw the first two pitches strikes more than anybody else. I know a lot of people are saying take a pitch, but I got curious after the first game and looked up, and let me see, where is it here? They throw strikes at the 9th highest clip when they're first starting, when they're first facing a batter. They throw more strikes early than they do late, and I think the Phillies used to be a team that would jump on first pitch strikes, and it seems like they're taking more, and I think it's working against them. How many times did we see batters today watch a middle pitch just go right down the chute and stand there?
Yeah, I mean,
do you think they've changed? Do you think they changed their approach towards the end of the season here?
I mean, to some extent, right? I mean, I think that might have been the plan against Snell, because Snell is usually not in the zone as much as he was today. And Snell was amazing. I mean, he left like one pitch middle to Castellanos that he grounded out on. But aside from that, Snell was all around the edges. But, I mean, the Dodgers bullpen, none of those guys impressed me today. And they threw a lot of hittable pitches, some hangers in there. But you're right. They took them. And what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Mizak? Any final comments for you?
No, just something I just came across. Do nothing. Let Sap bat. Chance to win 43.8%. A successful sacrifice bunt, which, by the way, this one was not successful. 41.6%, so 2.2%. And then by having it fail, I don't even know how much you gave up. So I can't get over it. The bunt's going to I'll be muttering tonight, all night, and tomorrow, like, just why'd we bunt? Yeah,
and that stuff matters. You know, even a couple percent matters a lot in the postseason at the end of the day. And Phillies didn't want to get that couple percent. I'm with you. That's all that I have for today's episode. I want to thank everybody for listening and for the activity we've seen in the podcast channel. Be sure to put any questions that you have in the future in the podcast channel in our Discord server. The link to the Discord server is in the show notes. Hopefully things turn around on Wednesday and the Phillies can make a comeback. In all the history of the Phillies in this 2022 to present era, they have never won an elimination game. Maybe it's time to start on Wednesday. So I'll be there in Los Angeles, so I'm not exactly sure when I'll get the episode out on Wednesday, or who I'll have with me, who's going to want to be up at that late time. But we'll figure it out. Thank you again, guys, for joining today. And thank everybody for listening.